Well, NVIDIA is back to stealing the show. We need to take a look at what the markets are doing. We'll give the update on NVIDIA. We'll also take a look at Tesla, being that today is the last day before the Robo-Taxi Day tomorrow, Tesla's big event that has been teased originally August the 8th, now October the 10th. So we've been waiting 2 months and 2 days. So for 8/8 to 10/10, and the time is finally arriving for us. And then also we'll take a look at Bitcoin as well to see what's going on. If you guys want to see these technicals before they hit YouTube, go ahead and check the link out in the description for the Patreon that are available over at the Discord, available through that Patreon. So guys, here, SPY, you can see the range of prices that I have on here, given where we could potentially go from where we're at right now. And we're getting absolutely near this previous peak that we had, and we are in a rising wedge pattern that I said we could probably stay in this for a little while. We're going to have to see. Just Monday, we tried to peekaboo down through the 5 and the 13 EMA, and then yesterday, ripping back up above those on some pretty decent strength. Yesterday was a day that we were up almost a full percent in the SPY, and up well over 8% with QQQ, no doubt led by what we saw with NVIDIA. So, excellent day in the market yesterday. Watch for that rise to 577. If we can get there, not only do we have a trend line coming for us, but we also have a pretty hard resistance up above as well. So we need to be on the lookout for that value. If we tumble down instead, we got 571 for support, along with some moving averages there to catch on to us. If we break down below that, 564 could be one of those prices that we see soon to come. If we see in the future a break out of this rising wedge pattern, that's something that could really spell a lot of downside from there. But we do have the 50 EMA and SMA, the red and blue lines coming up this way, to sort of help us out with that for a little bit. So we need to be on the lookout for what exactly the market's signaling to us. So breaking up above the all-time high, watch for 577. If instead we tumble back down, watch for 564. Let's move on to the Qs. So for the Qs, let me stretch that out a little bit so we can see a little bit more. Looks like I need to move along my prices a little bit more. There we go. Now the days are going on and it's catching up here. So 491 to the top side of this, 485 down to the bottom. We're currently in the middle of that, no doubt, because of the Fed minutes that are coming up today at 10 a.m. We absolutely want to be watchful for that coming out, because that could influence the markets. We could be a bit mixed until then. We could also see any amount of volatility leading up until that time, and I think it's going to be very polarizing within the probably hour from about 1:30 until 2:30, with the Fed minutes coming out in between right at 2 o'clock. So watch for that. That's Eastern time, market time. That's coming for us. IWM also a bit mixed, watching for those Fed minutes to come out right in between support and resistance here, still up above this part of the bullish channel that we find ourselves in. And certainly that moment of indecision got a bit of a drop off of that yesterday, but recovered very well off of support. Now we're somewhere about in the middle, and the pre-market hours putting us right around yesterday's close, just like what we saw with SPY and QQQ. NVIDIA, the show stealer, I talked about this consolidation pattern. I said breaking above is bullish. Broke up above it. Check out yesterday. Following that day, and then the pre-market hours this morning, we find ourselves right in between these two areas that we have right now. So right now we're in resistance. If we are able to get a full candle above that, we can call it support. 136.15 is this previous peak we have over here, and then up above that 140.76 is the next peak, that all-time high during regular trading hours. I think it was a little higher during the pre-market that day, so we got to watch for that. And there's a ton of resistance up above till about 147. Next price up above that, if we're able to clear that resistance, is 152. So we're going to have to watch and see what sort of rise we get out of that. Are we able to break through resistance? If we're able to punch through, if we're able to take on this previous peak of 136.15, watch for that clearance. If we clear it, watch out for that next all-time high, because we're almost certainly going to get there or darn close to it. If instead we fail to break that, watch for that tumble back down to support, probably down to at least this trend line that you see on here. So we should maybe fall a little bit through there. Now, mind you, that's not all in one day. That's over time that we watch for that to happen. But more than likely, we're going to hit the previous peak that we had, and then after that, moving up to all-time high levels if we can break that previous peak. So that's the trajectory that we're on right now for NVIDIA. I think there's a little bit more bullishness to go there, assuming that the market itself continues to experience some levity. That can be something that is really a boon to NVIDIA. So let's move on to Tesla. Tesla finds itself in this resistance area and along this trend line that you see in the pre-market hours right now. So this is another rising wedge pattern that we're looking at. You can see we broke up above it for a while, and now we're kind of falling right back into it. waiting to see what's going to happen with that robo-taxi day. I expect that we're going to be somewhere in the bottom part of this area as we go into that day to close the day on Thursday. We're going to have to see if we fall out of this. That's a sell the news event, so watch for that. Let me go out to the daily chart so we get a better view of this. There we go. Watch for us to fall out of this rising wedge pattern. If we do, we can come down to 233. Below that's 228, then 222. That's if we get to sell the news. Now, however, if for Tesla we happen to hear some excellent news on Thursday that absolutely energizes Tesla stock, well, you guys can see the prices that I have to the upside of this as well. That watch for this, watch for that push through resistance. If we can get through that up above 253, we got 263 where we got rejected before, and then up above that 276. But again, pay heedance to that rising wedge pattern that we find ourselves in for right now. That can be something that chews us up and spits us out if we don't hear something exciting or unexpected coming out tomorrow on Robo-Taxi Day. And then finally, Bitcoin. We watch Bitcoin. We're at a pretty critical level right now. We're getting that rejection. Got rejected off the 200. Got rejected off of this line that's in between here, right about 62.6. And then down below that 61.471. Kind of mixed at the moment. Even the RSI is showing us right near 50. So bullish, bearish, Bitcoin almost can't even decide what to do. If it goes bullish, then we get ourselves that golden cross moment. Watch for about 68,000 to come out of that, especially if we're able to break this trend line that you see coming down across here. Then that really activates numbers where we can push up into the 70,000 range. If instead we get that rejection, look to the downside. Look for 61.4, 60,000, and then these prices and so on down the chain from here. Matter of fact, since we're above these, I'll color code these red instead, saying that it would be a price drop from where we're at right now. Even though this one is very minimal, it's still something that we could come down to in the meantime. And again, the prices to the upside on this, there's 3 near-term ones that we could find ourselves in. And I will add more over time because I do have other lines, such as up here about 77.5 as well. And like I said, these technicals are available already over at the Discord. So before they ever hit YouTube, days before, weeks before, sometimes hours before they hit YouTube, you can still find them there. You can also see my buys and sells. You can talk to me and my community members using the link for the Patreon. Click on that, sign up, and head on over to the Discord. And that's where you'll find everything. And then, guys, if you want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself, learn about the bread recipe trading strategies that I use, StockMo uses, there's a link for StockMo Academy teaching you technical analysis, and also the bread recipe itself, which I gotta say is just a very, very solid trading strategy that has proven results to it, that there are oftentimes more gains than what you get for losses, and there's a little bit of skill level involved with that tech analysis, and that's why it's wrapped up in that technical analysis trading course where you can learn all about it. I have a chapter in there on options as well, and there are even testimonials talking about how people have experienced success with that bread recipe trading. You can go over and you can find that community through StockMo Academy by using the link down in the description for that, and then also use the code word doctor when you sign up. It's going to give you a pretty massive discount on that DOC-TOR. Check it out. Thank me later, guys. As for now, I will see you. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.